Hello, welcome to another video of CS106A. This is for assignment 7. We're talking about Facepamphlet, and right now we're working on Milestone 4. My name is Kai, and I'll be helping you with this milestone. So what we have here is we have to add the functionality of something called change status, change picture, and add friend. And we also want to implement some kind of code here so that we can update the information from add, delete, and lookup. And so what they want you to do is create a notion of a current profile. So let's take a look. That's going to look like something like this. So when you add the profile, it will show up as the current profile is Mayron. So we want to be able to build some kind of method that can handle that for us. And so let's go ahead and take a look. I will create a method called display profile that will print out the current profile that's set. Display profile, and it's going to be void because it's not going to return anything. It's just going to go ahead and print it. So whatever the current profile is, the current profile is, we want to be able to display it. So if the current profile is not equal to null, then we're going to have it print, what do we want it to print? Let's take a look. Line forward. So it's going to look like line forward current profile colon space plus, and then whatever the current profile is. So we're going to do current profile to string, and that's that method that we created in the Facepamphlet profile. So it's done for us right there. And then if there is no profile existing, then we want to print ln no current profile exists. So arrow no current profile exists. No current profile, exactly. Perfect. Oh, semicolon. Okay, so I want to test this guy. The easiest way to test this guy out, what happened here? Oh, it is inside another method, so let's take that out. And there we go. And let's test this guy, because you always want to kind of like test to see if it's working well. So let's go to add. So we're going to go to add and have it display the profile. And we still want it to display the profile. So when we want to display profile in both cases for add, whether it's replacing it or if it's just adding a new one. Okay, so we run it. So this way we can like troubleshoot it right away if there's any problems with it. We're going to add Mayron. Okay, that works. Current profile is Mayron, but I noticed that there's this little thing called null. We want to change that, so by going to Facepamphlet, we'll have that reworked, but let's go ahead and add a new person. Now, this should re-update it. There we go. So it's re-updated. So we saw that thing where there was like a null, and so let's go to the toString and see what's going on here. So basically, the profile status, okay, that's what's returning null. So here, it would be a good idea to say if profile status is equal to null, then what we're going to do is set profile status to equal an empty space. Okay, that way it would fix that problem right away. So if we go back to Facepamphlet and run that again, and I say Mayron, now there's just going to be an empty space right there. Okay, same thing when I change it to a different profile, Julie, that's going to give us a new profile right there. So it looks like it's working pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and add that same method to the other methods. So one for delete, okay, another one for lookup, and there you go. That whole thing's updated. Now let's get into the real milestone of this program. So what we need to do is we need to create implementation of the change status. So if there is no current profile, then the status for the profile should be updated to the text entered. And you can just print out a message to that effect. And if there's no current profile, then you should simply prompt the user. So that's pretty easy. That's an if and then if and else statement. If the current profile is there, we're going to do this. If the profile is not there, it's going to say please select the profile. So if we want to do this, we start off with an if and then statement. Okay. So that's what you need to be able to recognize while reading that. So if our current profile, as long as our current profile is there, okay. So if it's there, so we're going to say if it's not equal to null, then what we want to do is we want to set our profile status. So you're going to go to current profile, and we want to set it because that's something that we've created in Facepamphlet profile, the set, and we're going to set the status, which is a method there, and we're going to put the status for whatever text we get in our status field box. So status field, and whatever that is, so get text. That's right, get text. Okay. And then once you do that, we want to be able to print on our screen that it's been updated. So we're going to go println, and we're going to type in status updated to whatever it is. So this is easy. So we're going to say status field dot get text. Oops, not get alignment, get text. Okay. And so this will tell us what the status has been updated to, because that's what we want. We want a running update of what we're doing. So status updated to whatever we typed in the box. Then we need the current profile. So we need to add that last part, current profile. So it's going to be display profile, and that would complete that whole algorithm right there for status updated to that and revealing what the current profile is. And that is if we have an actual current profile to change status of. If it's not there, which is the else in this case, we're just going to say, well, okay, I'm sorry, but we need a profile. So please select a profile to change the status. Okay. And at the same time, after we say that, please select, I believe, yeah, please select the profile to change status. No current profile. So we still want to display that profile, the current profile. So since it's null, it's going to show up as null. So if we implement this guy and we did it right, this is what's supposed to happen. So we add a profile, we change the status, sleeping, but it didn't update it. So why didn't it update? Why didn't it update? So change status, got that. Where is it? Oh, oh my goodness. Well, this is funny because for some reason I read this as change status, but this is change status. So, wow, how did I do that? Well, obviously then this would need to go here. Well, that's stupid. Well, we don't need this change status anymore. This is something that we just had in there just to help us figure out where clicking the change status button. So we're gonna do this again. Well, that was, wow, how did I do that? Okay, so anyways, Mayron, and then sleeping. Probably not enough sleep, right? Oh, there we go. Status updated to sleeping. That's what we wanted. And now the current profile is Mayron. And so what we want to do is if it changes profile, now the current profile will show Julie. And if I, oh yeah, and then you can update Julie's profile. So that's the change status implementation right there. Now what we want to do is we also want to implement the change pictures. So when we do the change picture, the first thing that we need to do is implement this line of algorithm right here. And this is really important because you don't really know that the input that you're putting in actually works. So, in order to test to see whether it works or not, you always want to use the try method or try algorithm. So when we use the try constructor, what we do is we say try and then try putting that name into the G image to see if it gives us an image. If it doesn't, then we're just going to have some code that says file cannot be opened. So, alright, so change picture. So we're going to go ahead, start off by initializing the G image and say that it's empty. Okay. Then what we want to do is we want to input that profile, that image into the profile only if there is a current profile. So make sure you say if the current profile exists. So if the current profile exists, then we're going to try. What are we going to try? We're going to try to see if we could set the new G image to that image that we set in the picture field text box. So picture field get text. Okay. So we're going to try that to see if that actually works. And once we do that, we want to take the current profile and then we want to go ahead and set that image. Okay. And once we set the image, if the current profile image happens to be null, okay, and this is where it's really important, okay, if the current profile image, so we want to get the image, happens to be null, okay, and you'll see why I did that in a sec. Okay, there we go. We want to say that the picture cannot be updated because you didn't put anything in. You see, you're trying to put something in doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually going to do so. So if it happens to be empty still, even after you try to put something in, then you would say picture could not be updated. Okay. Now, of course, if it did work, so if it did work, which is our else statement, then we're going to say that, oh, now the picture is now updated. So picture is updated. Okay? And that way we can check to see if an image did get set to our profile. Alright? Now, once it is able to update or not update the picture, or if there's some kind of error to it, we want to be able to catch those errors, and that would be our error exception. Okay, and you don't have to put any code in there. I mean, unless you want to print some kind of line saying that the file name cannot be opened. But I'm going to leave it blank because that's something that you can put through a new error exception, stuff like that. Okay, so once we update the picture or not update the picture, we still need, I believe, a current profile. So we need to still call that method display profile. Okay, and then let's say that there was no profile in there to begin with. Okay, the current profile does not exist. Then we want to simply just say, oh, whatever the profile is, the current profile, which will be empty, and then we want to say, I don't know, something to the effect of, let's see, please select a profile to change the image, right? Something to that effect. I don't think they give you like a set code for that. Oh yeah, please select a profile to change the image. So that should be fine. Yeah, just like that. So this one's change status, but now we're gonna have one for change our image. So println, please select a profile to change the image. Okay, I'm missing a T. Alright, so that's the implementation of change picture. So now it should work out properly if we used it. So we're going to run this guy. Notice how I'm being more careful here, not doing all at one time, but rather doing each one and checking, because here it's another way of just being careful and not having to troubleshoot too much after you've created something. So I'm going to try now this. Okay, Mayron S JPEG. Picture has been updated. Perfect. So the current profile has this with that picture update. Looks like we don't need this though. Change picture Mayron s.jpg. I think that's something that we had that handled the change picture before. So I'm gonna go ahead and comment that out so we don't have it in there. I believe we don't need that. Yes, we don't need that. So, but that's how it works. Perfect. So far, so good. Okay, so let's try the same thing, but this time we're gonna say change picture nothing. Oh, wait, it says picture updated and picture has been updated, so that's weird. Oh, see, now it's calling now. Now there's no picture being set. Funny, funny, funny. Well, we set the image, get the image, cannot be updated, but it's okay. Huh, we'll have to go back to that one. So anyways, moving forward, I was able to update it, but let's go back to that one afterwards because friend is a lot easier to complete than current profile of the image just because uh, I can't visually see it personally. Maybe you could, but I can't see it until I actually implement the canvas. So we're going to be able to go back to that one later when we do milestone 5. But else if, let's go ahead and work on the add friend implementation. So to do the add friend, what we need to do is do the same thing. If the current profile exists, okay, and we're going to say not equal to null, then the next thing that we want to do is to make sure that the friend, okay, the profile of the friend, we want to get uh, the friend list. So we want to see if that profile uh, does exist in the database, and we want to see if that profile in that database has the name of that friend. Okay, but anyways, in order to add friends anyways, you need to know if that profile exists. Otherwise, if you try adding that name, that friend to the profile, it won't work because the name doesn't exist anywhere. So first things first, the current profile has to be there, right? And like I said, secondly, you need to check if that friend that you want to add has an actual profile. So we're going to check our database, we're going to see if it contains the profile, and we're going to check the name of the profile by looking at our friend field text, because that's the friend that we want to add. Get it so far? Okay. So once we check to see if that works, now we want to be able to add the friend to the current profile. Okay. So if we know that the profile of that friend does exist, then now we can actually add the friend. So we're going to say if the current profile dot add friend, because that's a method in the profile. Then what do we want to add? We want to add friend field dot get text, because that's the thing that you added. And remember, this is why it's so important. When you go to the Facepamphlet profile and you go to add friend, notice how we also have the implementation of a boolean. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to actually utilize the boolean, the return true, return false, but the fact that you can add a friend and it returns a boolean is very helpful, especially if you want to use that in an actual statement here. In this case, the if condition statement. So here we're using the true false to see if it does exist. So for example, current profile dot add friend field text. So we're seeing if we can add the friend, right? So if we can add the friend, then they're going to add the friend to the array and then return true that they did that already. You see? If the friend array already has that friend name, then it's going to return false, and then you don't even have to add it in the first place. See what's happening? So the fact that, one, if you look at this again, we want to check to see if the profile exists, right? Secondly, once the current profile is there, we want to check if the friend has an actual profile in the database. Okay. Once we check that the friend's in the database, then we want to check if that friend is already a friend or not to that current profile. Okay, and if it's true, if you did have that, then we want to put the response as yeah, we just added that friend. And so we're going to go ahead and print the line that says whatever the friend's name is, right? Let's see. Friend. It is right here. Mayron added as a friend. So we want the name first and then add it as a friend. So name. So we're going to type in friend field, get the text, and then we're going to say added as a friend. I want to stay true to the actual program. And then after that, we want to go ahead and add that friend to the database as well. Okay, it's in the profile, but we got to make sure that we added that into the database. So what we're going to do is hit enter, and we're going to say face database, get that profile that we just worked on, okay, of that friends list. Oh, and I forgot to mention, when you're adding friends, they have to show up on both profiles. So once this is true, that you can actually add that friend, get the profile of the friend, and then add the current profile's name. I know that sounds a little confusing, but just picture this. You're adding the friend to both of them. So each of those profiles will be friends of each other. So we're going to go face db, get the profile of the friend that we were adding. Okay, and then we want to go ahead and add the friend of the current profile. And the easiest way to do that is just by having it return name. Okay, and done. So make sure you do that. Every time you add a friend, it adds the friend to the other profile. Alright? And then once you're done with that, make sure you print out what the current status of the profile is. So the current profile that's being displayed. So display profile should always be the final part of your algorithm. Okay. Now the question is, what happens if what happens if the profile fails? Like, let's say that we added a friend and it returned false. No, that friend's already in the list. Then we're simply gonna say, well, the friend is already a friend in your profile, right? So println, we're gonna say your friend, so friend, whoever that is, and then we're gonna say plus is already a friend in your profile. Okay? And then of course display what the current profile is too when you do that. Alright? Now the next thing is what if the database does not contain that that profile that we're looking for? Okay. Well, if it doesn't contain that profile, then what we're going to do, instead of actually executing that, we're going to say instead, keep hitting that for some reason, the friend doesn't have a profile, right? So the friend, whoever it is, friend, oh, field, get text, is not in the database. Okay, so we want to say, yeah, that's right. So it's not in the database. Okay, and that's to the else statement of if the profile is not contained in the database. Okay, so once you're done with that, after you say that, oh, and don't forget, always display your profile, the current profile that's showing up on the screen. That will be important, especially when we get to the actual implementation of the graphics. And then, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, oh, I'm missing one more, else. So else the profile is not filled with something, then we're going to say please select profile, right? So println please select a profile to add a friend. Alright, and then still you want to display your profile. Okay, so that is the implementation of all. And now the last part we want to consider is this guy right here, where we implemented the change picture. Now, I think last time what I was doing is, if we want to try the image and it doesn't work, I think I really need to make sure that if it doesn't work, we still need to set the image as null. Okay, so that's really important. Yeah, we want to try it, and if it doesn't work, then image now will just be null. And after we set image as null, then it would be easier to do our little trip right here outside the try and catch. That way, if it tries it and it works, or if it tries it and it doesn't work, it would set the image to null if it didn't work. Okay, so instead of checking the current profile of the image, it'll be just easier to set the condition to the image itself. So if image is equal to null, that means the picture cannot be updated. Else, if it's not, if it actually did work, if it actually was implemented into something, then we'll go ahead and say the picture was updated. And I believe that should fix that. Still thinking about it, but anyways, let's try it. So Mayron, that's what we need to add. There we go. And then we want to change the status to sleeping. There we go. And then the next thing is we want to update this picture. So Mayron s.jpg. Good, picture's been updated. And then what we want to do is add a new profile named Julie. And then we want to add the friend named Mayron. Okay, good. And we want to look up Mayron, because see if he has a friend. There we go, Mayron has a friend Julie. We want to delete the profile of Mayron, because it's now currently on Mayron, so delete it. And then we want to see if we change the status to eating. Nope. Okay. This approach change status, good. And then we want to look up Julie. So look up Julie. And then let's see if we set her picture. So let's say Julie JPEG. Picture cannot be updated because it doesn't exist in our little file. So where's our files of pictures, if you're wondering? You would go open your assignment, open your images, and those are the available files. So we can go ahead and set Julie z.jpg. There we go, picture updated. And that's how you do Milestone 4. So if you have any questions, please like and subscribe. Sorry I made a little goof up with that in the beginning. That's because I'm just trying to do this code raw, so it's a little difficult than I thought. Well, it's getting a little bit more difficult, but essentially if you have any questions about how I did it and what you have in terms of how you're doing it and you want to ask me about it, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Again, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.